So here in the last year or so, I get a lot of people that ask me, hey Mike, why did you ditch your Canon T3i? Now, for those of you that know me, the Canon T3i was one of my favorite cameras. I actually ran out. I bought two of those cameras when they first came out. I bought lens kits. I bought all kinds of accessories because I felt that as an independent filmmaker, the T3i offered a ton of features for a fraction of the cost of professional cameras. And of course, I was instantly in love with the Canon T3Is. I went out, I shot short films, I did an entire television sitcom for Amazon Prime called Vaughn on the T3Is. I did a lot of photo shoots, and I was just super impressed with the quality that you could get for video and photos. For me, it was kind of a multi-purpose tool, and I felt with all the things that you could do with the T3i, it was a very small investment that would be very easy, whether you're making films or doing photography sessions, to be able to make the money back that you've put into the camera. It kind of seemed like a no-brainer. And not to take away from anything that the T3i does, the one thing that it doesn't do is shoot in 4K. And going forward, it seems that everything is moving towards 4K. They want better image quality, better videos, things that look more professional. And even though the T3i still produced a great image and a great video especially for things like YouTube or digital things, there's just that extra need at some point for 4K. Okay, so the biggest issue for me was this. About 6 or 7 years ago, I dropped around $2,500 on two T3Is with all the accessories. And it really hasn't been that long. And yes, the T3Is would still provide everything that I need. But if I'm ready to upgrade to 4K, what are my options? And how do I keep it cost effective? And now that's where we enter the new cell phone age. Now, I'm not saying that your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy is going to replace every professional camera that you own. It's obviously not. It's going to be very limited. But I will say this. It was my own curiosity one day that made me try to shoot something with my cell phone in 4K just to see how it would look. And, well, let's just say that the overall results ended in me finally letting go and selling my T3Is. Most of my filmmaker friends pretty much just cringed when they heard that I had done this. They're like, why would you do that? And how could you possibly think that shooting on a cell phone going forward is going to be productive at all? But let me tell you, I was so impressed with the video that I immediately ran out and bought what is called a Zhiyun Smooth Q gimbal. It's an electronic gimbal that you connect to your cell phone, and it allows you to get some really nice shots. It's so smooth. The easy setup, but just sliding your camera into this gimbal, powering it on, and being able to walk around, I immediately noticed, holy crap, this has added a ton of production value. This is so much better than, shoulder rigging my T3Is or trying to balance them on these different types of fly cams and stabilizers, and this was just so much easier. And again, we're shooting in 4K. So I'm not saying that I would at this moment take my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus out and try to shoot a feature film. But for short films, I felt like, man, this is a really great alternative to really get into 4K without having to drop a ton of money. I mean, I already have this phone. I'm walking around with, $1,000 camera in my pocket, essentially, because let's face it, all phones are the same functions. They're there to make phone calls, and they just happen to constantly improve on video and picture quality. And it's a fierce competition out there between Samsung and Apple. When you see a new phone come out, you don't hear about, oh, it makes the call clearer or it's easier to dial. It's about what features it has, how good of a photo it can take, what are the megapixels, what can you do with the video, how does the video look? And because of that, they're actually more in competition with each other than most camera companies are. Now, taking into consideration that there are some films out there right now that have been shot on mobile phones that have actually made it to theaters that were done by credible directors, I personally decided to take a turn in 2018 to shooting a bunch of short films with just my cell phone. Out of those short films, I actually had two of them. One called The Moon and Her Tresses, and another called Smell, that actually were accepted to festivals. And Moon and Her Tresses actually won a couple of awards. And for me, this was mind blowing because all I did was take this little cell phone out of my pocket, put it on this one small handheld piece of equipment, and we went out and shot. And let me tell you, when you show up on a set with actors and other filmmakers and you break out a cell phone, the looks that they give you are priceless. It's like they don't have any faith in you whatsoever. But every person that I've worked with that has seen our final product has been mind blown. Like, they just cannot believe it. And to be honest, if we hadn't told them that we shot it on a cell phone, they would never know. So just keep that in mind. I had a friend one time who, her son was getting ready to go into film school, and they contacted me for advice and said, look, he wants to attend this film school and he wants to do these things, but we can't afford to buy him a camera. And I said, well, just out of curiosity, what cell phone does he own? And she said, well, he owns the iPhone X or the iPhone 10. And I said, well, he's already got a good enough camera for a film student. Trust me. Take that camera out, start filming with it, and it's not, you can just go in and start filming straight off the camera, but there are programs, there are applications, Filmic Pro, and I know for Android systems, you can get a thing called Cinema 4K, and they will allow you to shoot in flat profiles. You can change your frame rates to 24 frames per second or whatever, to get that same look that you could get with most professional cameras. And now you're not having to buy an additional camera because you've already bought him this phone. So he can just go out and shoot. And honestly, his phone camera is going to shoot a better video than, say, the cameras that I used on my feature film back in 2007 when we shot on Canon XL2s. So there is definitely a benefit. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some footage that I have shot, just kind of stock footage walking around when I first started testing this out, and let you guys see just how good this video quality is, how acceptable it is. And again, while I'm not touting to go out and try to shoot a feature film on it, for any person who is looking to maybe shoot some stock footage and put it up for sale online, or use this as a B camera, I could see it being very useful for B-roll. It's very quick, it's very portable, and or anybody who's just trying to get started and shoot some short films on a budget, who can't afford a camera, but you already have a decent phone that can record with the same quality and capabilities of most low-end DSLRs or even handheld camcorders. So I'm going to throw that footage, let you guys take a look at it. Let me know what you think in the comments section and what you guys might want to do going forward. Maybe you guys decide you want to start picking up that cell phone.